I tried to find a video about the origin or the history of socialization, but that's very difficult to find. There's a lot about socialization, but not the origin or the history. And I know that's difficult to uh, figure out how uh, the evolution of socialization or the evolution of civilization happened. Uh, because we don't know what happened 5,000 years ago, or uh, this Big Bang theory. We don't know. We can't say we know that the Big Bang happened. How do we know that? We can't go back in time. We are not able to travel in time. We can make some assumptions according to our scientific way of thinking, and some people are more educated in the field of astronomy than others, but we cannot go back in time and see what happened, and we cannot say that that the ingredients, like in food, in the surrounding universe, are so much different from the ingredients on Earth. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things we don't know. Or the Darwin theory, I don't think it makes sense, because it means that there should be some God saying that now you need sharper teeth in order to eat that meat, or now you need to grow darker skin in order to cope with the strong sunlight or something like that, or now you need to grow feet in order to walk. Who, where should that? Who should? Who's? It's a human thought being put into something that's supposed to be scientific. Because when you talk about Darwin and evolution, people always say, "Oh, they grew this because they had to cope with this and that." But that means that there had to be some godly spirit, or some higher intelligence saying that that was needed, and therefore it only makes sense with our human logic that that should be necessary. So I don't believe in Darwin and evolution, but who cares? But socialization and how science, that's what I wanted to figure out, how science, the scientific way of thinking. And it's funny that I just found out that science actually means, I think it was the 14th century, where it meant common knowledge, or knowledge we but that's not the definition, because science has to do with academic uh, projects and lectures and something like that. So but knowledge, that was the original meaning, deriving from Aristotle. uh, but it's not, it has a different meaning, I think. And even when you think about how we could have organized our societies and the world we live in, not to believe in science, but to believe in whatever other way of organizing the world. And we could have believed in not living together in groups, but separately. And I think a lot of people seem to think that today. Yeah. But I would like to know. I was looking for videos or something like that on YouTube, where people explain something about how the scientific way of thinking influenced the society and the rules, and the way we live together. For example, in relation to psychiatric diagnoses, because that is something that science and the medical science has made, turned into something that's sick and that needs to be treated and taken out of society. And um, and also how people view. We have a way, or politicians have a way of talking about people who are less fortunate as weak people. That's a normal way to refer to people who earn less money, who are less fortunate. They are weak, and I don't think that is a term that makes any promises of things turning better. And the way we use language is also a way to keep holding on to people being in that situation. Or they are. We talk about countries like Africa, like development countries, or something. That's how we translate it in the Danish word. But we don't talk about people in Denmark who are less fortunate as development people. Or we talk about, or I don't, but politicians say they are weak. They and what does weak mean? It means that they are not strong. They that's why they have less money. That's why they have problems with this and that. That's because they are weak. They are not strong. They are different from the rest of people in society. They cannot do the same things as others. They, but I think it's a misinterpretation of people who are less fortunate, because they can be that from a lot of different reasons. So that has influenced socialization and socialism. Those things must be related, because I see socialism as a political branch that is thinking in boxes, and socialization is also box thinking. This belongs there, and this belongs there, and there. It's like organizing people in groups and in a societal co-living, which is only possible when you put things into boxes. But you can focus more or less on freedom. And we have a politician in Denmark called Jacob Ellemann, who talks a lot about freedom. I don't know if that's what he means about that, but I have seen the difference between the socialists, who are the red parties in Denmark, and the blue are the liberal. I don't know the right word. I'm not that politically enlightened, but I think that the difference is that I feel I have more opportunities in life when it's the blue. I know my children were. It was during the blue rain that my children were sent to a violent alcoholic, but and that's the most horrible thing that has ever happened in my life. But I think that the problem should have been solved by now, since the red got in power, but they have no focus on children, even though the prime minister wants to be the prime minister of the children. I don't know if the children are men or some kinds of women, or who she defines as children. That can be an individual definition, but they should have been solved by now. I hope, well, I don't know, but I think that the socialistic parties would distance themselves from believing in children and violence, and children and alcoholism, and these things that are not good for children, because it fits very well with socialistic way of thinking. But I have contacted the Prime Minister with more than once. I have contacted a lot of politicians. I have been on this Skype connection with them, and the social and in I don't know what it's called, but the social and it's people in our country. I have talked to them for 15 minutes on a Skype connection, where the minister of that department didn't even show up. I have explained to them how the human rights are being violated, and but I got nothing out of that, and I hope that if it had been the blue politicians, that it would be different, that they would have listened, that they would have corrected the error by now. But it's that's because it's I think it's very strange, because of course I think about, could I have done something very bad in Denmark that they want to punish me for, but they don't want to take me to court because I don't know why. I haven't done anything to my children or to anyone else that I know of, so I don't know what's but what, apart from the child case, which is the most important, but apart from that, I have experienced that with the blue parties, there is a different view on the less fortunate. It's people. It seems like there's a smaller tendency to categorize people that sharply, and that squarey. You're not. There's more. There are open doors between these different boxes, and you're more free to walk around and look inside other boxes and see if you could fit there, and sometimes be there and there. You're not. That's how I have experienced it, and that the red parties like to make people sick, and that once you have been put into that box, you can never get out, and they will lock you in, and they will keep you there. And that is a bit strange, because the red parties are usually considered to be or seen as the soft parties in politics, but it seems that the softness does not have to do with the less fortunate. Okay, so socialization and socialism, I think the words are very related. So there must be some connection between those words, and also the feeling of socialists, and how the civilization is in a socialistic society. It's, I think that that the space where you are considered to be, to fit in society, to be normal, to be ordinary, and to that, it's a very nice thing. People like ordinary in Denmark. The more ordinary, the better, and that means, talking about, saying the right words. It's very important that you don't use this word instead of that, and don't experiment too much with language that will make people consider you, or don't. You shouldn't buy too much of this and that, and and I don't mean alcohol, but even if you're grown up and you buy I had a friend who noticed that I bought 2 tomatoes, which she thought was strange, instead of buying a tray of tomatoes. But it's possible to buy them, one piece, and then take 2 of them instead of in a box or a tray or whatever it's called. But it's very people easily think you are strange in Denmark, and uh, it only takes a little strangeness to fall outside of the box, and people, what's uh, even the clothes you wear. Did you? I know I didn't shower today. I usually did that before. I didn't like to go out without uh, having put on makeup, but it's not. I don't think it's that much how you look, but more what you wear, for example. And it's the words you choose, the way you say things, how you. Um, it's all these little things that need to be said in the exact right way, or people will misunderstand maybe, or they will find you weird, or they will. And I can see that when a person like that, what's he called? Oh, whatever. Those people talking about philosophy in the right way, using the right words, the university, the academic words, and not and doing it in the right way. Well, people will not like. What's wrong with as long as you use the words that are uh, generally accepted as in that context to be the right words. If he started, or one of these philosophic thinkers in nowadays started talking about relating it to, like I do, real life, then it becomes more like, what? I don't see life as that. I'm not, and then people get personally um assaulted, or uh, because then we talk in a normal way in our family. Why? What's wrong with that? And but you cannot think about today's society without somehow uh, aiming at people, and even at myself, because I uh, I am attacking the concept of normality and ordinarity, being ordinary, and so that might be the same as normal people attacking people who don't fit in the boxes. So, uh, just saying that we could have organized our society in a different way. We could have said that socialization has to do with different things, like being very creative, writing with chalk all over on the boardwalk and on the streets, and singing songs wherever. If we met people, we would join singing, and we would dance with people in the streets, um, and we could find some value in that. But today, it's not. Now you need to put on your social mask where you go out and you hide certain emotions. You try to fit in. You are an actor. You are actors in the socialization game. And if you are not that, then people will. If you're not able to hide those emotions because they're too strong or whatever, people will look at you and she's weird, or he's weird. Um, and it doesn't. There's not much room for happiness or singing, creativity, or whatever, as we could have based our societies on that, like some African societies or civilizations, groups, tribes, where they join in singing, and they dance and play drums. If they, yeah. But we have different values. We like to. We don't like that other people influence us by being sad or mad, or by singing or dancing in supermarkets, or by crying, or because that would affect me, and I don't like that. So well, if I was the one who believed in that kind of socialization, then I would say that, well, I have based this, if I created this, I would say I based this on us not uh, being able to uh, go out to shop without seeing how do you feel, how do you feel, how do you feel, how do you sing, how do you dance, how do you and not talk about only small talk, because that's all that's allowed, and because I want to go to the supermarket and not be affected or influenced by what you think or what you do. I don't want to see who you are. I want to go in there and I want to see people who hide who they are, so I can walk through the supermarket without being influenced by you or you or you. And I want that to be the case wherever people are gathered, except in the family, the near family. So I don't like in educational institutions or wherever people are gathered, except if they're children, then they are allowed to a bit of craziness, but we will try to modify it and to make you socialized and make you control your emotions and make you hide them. And that's a value in our society, to hide who you are, and that maybe that's why a lot of people have troubles figuring out who am I. Just be yourself. Yeah, right. In a socialized society, I don't think so. Be a modified version of yourself, more or less, depending on how big you are or how much you have to hide. Just more or less modified. We don't want to see you be yourself. Maybe people who have other people in therapy will say it's good to be yourself, but they have to think about that it is being yourself in a socialized society. You cannot be yourself. You can never be yourself in a group of other people unless you try doing that and see what happens. But if you want to fit in to a socialized society, you are never yourself in groups of other people, unless it's party, with friends, with family, but not in social situations where it's not in a family or a friend's private home or your own private home with friends and family. So it's pretty sad.